I want to talk a little bit more about the book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which I haven't discussed in a while, because I think it is a springboard for a lot of the theories that I've continually struggled, I think, to really get to the bottom of, particularly regarding the issue of AI and AI being conscious, um, as you all know, as I've discussed. Um, and the first thing is that I wonder about is that all the people within in the world of Blade Runner or Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and in real life who strive to bring AI to life, really creating just non-biological life forms. Um, how I wonder how many of them are also would call themselves atheists or materialists, which would completely contradict the idea of what we call the ghost in the machine. The ghost in the machine, by nature, contradicts all of those ideas about materialism and atheism. And yet, I wouldn't be surprised if many of them identified as that and completely were cynical about religion and said, "No, we're moving into a new era now, a new world, and a brave new world, and we have to leave all that behind." Um, and in the world of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, Philip K. Dick never says whether or not what the religious beliefs of the community are, but I sense sometimes maybe that's what's going on, that they had, in the interest of a technocracy, they wanted to abandon religious values, they wanted to replace it with this kind of uh, very, to call it, morbid and authoritarian, very delusional kind of world. I think another point that I want to make is that I think the best case against this theory about the ghost in the machine is just in the same way that Christopher Hitchens, as you know, like an intellectual, a writer, talks about, well, the illogical idea of God. Why would God, or why would this thing single us out? Like we would be the center of the universe and would single us out to provide us guidance, to provide us hope, to provide us what we need. Just in the same way, the ghost in the machine idea works in the same way, that we're insisting that something that is outside of the normal steps of evolution, and as we know, every step of evolution has a particular purpose, right? It's to fulfill the next sort of habitat, the next sort of environment, or to adjust to a new environment, to be able to becoming more complex, and in some cases to be able to reproduce. It's always a step forward, becoming more complex to fulfill particular purposes, right? And that's why things come into being. That's how we create what we call life. But imagine that the ghost in the machine idea is that something randomly from nowhere, we don't even know where, would knowing what our mission is, knowing the hubris of human beings, would come down to Earth in that form, take on that physical form, just to prove our theory, just to prove that we can create life. Right, that it would somehow, that a pre-existing force would somehow take that sort of interest in us, but there wouldn't be any kind of evolutionary purpose for why something would exist.